Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, May 22, 2026, time in Texas, about 4 p.m. A flash update. Tulsi out and Aggie in. The U.S. military and UFOs. And Canada. Could Alberta be out of Canada soon? And President Trump. A weekend hit? We'll see. So that's going on. And we have this from a Patriot subscriber responding to the last video I put out where the CDC said the Ebola could also be passed through aerosolized spittle or saliva drops. I distinguish between aerosolized fluid and airborne. So Ebola right now is not airborne. It doesn't fit that description. That's not to say that it couldn't mutate, but that's highly unlikely. But aerosolized sprays could be one way that disease could be spread in the U.S. And my Patriot subscriber says, aerosolized pathogens are perfect to spread in the U.S. to bring about a lockdown. And it could be a cover for many deep state arrests. Just a thought. So that's going on. And we have this. So we heard today that DNI Tulsi Gabbard is resigning effective June 30. Because her husband of 11 years has been diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. To replace her, we have the deputy DNI, now becoming the acting DNI, Aaron Lucas. And he's a graduate of Texas A&M. In 1993, he received a degree in political science, and then he graduated with a master's from George Washington University in 1997 with a master's in international affairs. And he also has a 20-year employment with the CIA where he performed as an analyst and also in operations. So I think he'll do just fine. I could be a little biased, just saying. We have this from Fox, an interview with Dr. Gary Nolan, who was hired by the U.S. government and the Pentagon to look into the Havana Syndrome. And that was a case, I think going back 10 years, where people working at the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba, were coming down with strange afflictions. It appeared that they were being hit with, through the walls of the embassy, with some type of energy weapon. As Dr. Nolan worked with, he was asked by the Pentagon to work with up to 100 diplomats and other government employees who had been affected, the Pentagon believed, by Havana Syndrome. But as he worked with them, he came to realize he was working with two different groups. One group apparently hit with some type of energy weapon, but the second group had been hit also by some kind of energy disruptor in the human body by UFOs and exposure to UFOs. So that's going on. And we have President Trump, of course, releasing information about ETs and UFOs. We have this from W77. Yes, the U.S. military today has released a video showing a UFO. Now, there are proponents in two camps that these are UFOs, a separate group, but from the U.S. military. But another group says the U.S. military has known about UFOs and crashed spacecraft and ETs since the 1960s, and that the U.S. military has back-engineered gravitic spacecraft that can, reflect gravity and rise in the air and operate as many of us have seen UFOs to do, and that it's quite possible, and some sources have said, some of the UFOs we see in the sky are actually U.S. military objects called UAPs, unmanned aerial phenomena. Well, now, the U.S. military today has released a video. You can see it on the YouTube channel of J.D. Rucker. So that's going on. And we have this. So we have, the Border Patrol arrested 19 illegals trying to come through a drainage tunnel near San Diego, California. They have been arrested, and this included 3 unaccompanied children. We weren't given the ages, but also included 2 individuals who have been convicted in California for trafficking meth and had been deported. And here they are back in the U.S. And they have been arrested, Rodell and Ivan Padilla. So way to go, Border Patrol. And we have this from the BBC. So it appears that Alberta, a province of Canada, as I've put out on my channel several months ago, when President Trump came out and said, we want to make Canada the 51st state, I had Patriot subscribers from Alberta saying we would love to be part of the U.S. And now a referendum has been put forth for another vote, which will be a second vote, which will be binding. They had an earlier referendum, and 300,000 voted to leave Alberta versus 400,000 who said to stay in Alberta. But now they're having a second vote. Alberta is oil rich, and its primary arguments against both Trudeau and Carney's government is that Alberta is hit with environmental rules that restrict its drilling and oil production, and also heavily taxed. And we have also recently in Alberta a court decision with the judge saying it doesn't appear that it's legal to bring about a second referendum until the sponsors who of separating from Canada have much more interaction and feedback from Alberta's Indigenous tribes. So that's going on. This concludes my flash. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, world peace, and world health. I love you, and I'll see you soon.